Welcome to the Starting Over podcast. I am your host, Edward Shelton, aka Dark Logos, and this is the show where we look at the strategies, tactics, and mechanics behind the game of HEROCLIX. Here's what's going to happen today. I'm going to present you with a weird formula based off of a lot of the stuff that's going on in HEROCLIX. This is going to be probably the modern age math formula for the rest of the year until something changes. Definitely for 300. Once you go into 400 and 500, the equation changes a lot, but I am going to present a math equation sort of thing. Also, I had recorded a show. I was going to be like, my ideas about the Indiana thing and Gen Con and all the other stuff. And I had it all in one show, and then I just realized, like, that's not fair. That's not fair to you, the listener, and it's not necessarily fair in the format in which I was giving it. Not necessarily my opinion, but the fact that if you wanted to listen to HEROCLIX, you had to go listen through all of my spiel and then go and hear about 15, 20 minutes worth of HEROCLIX content. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have that in a whole separate video. Don't even have to watch it. If you're like, don't want to know what Dark Logos believes, fine. I really am not putting that up for hits. Okay. It's just more of me getting it off my chest and just sort of stating some of my positions on things. All right. So it's not jacking for hits. Just more of getting off chest, and just for some folks, you know, in general, just saying like, hey, all right, what's your position? Also, I'll say this. I've left games due to moral disagreement, and I've talked about that in the past, that, you know, there was a game that I was pretty strong in the community with, and found out that, you know, the people that ported the game over to the United States from Japan sold porn, and I disagreed with it. So I no longer did business with that company, and I gave away all my stuff. I had like $600 worth of stuff I just gave away. So, if you feel the same way if you like, I don't know how he believes, you know, what is he spending his money on? And like, well, I spend everything I earn from the show on HEROCLIX. So if you're concerned about where the money is going, feeding myself, paying off insurance bills, gas, and HEROCLIX, that's pretty much what in prizes. Yeah. The mailing for the prizes. Actually, by the time I do get enough money from the show, it is mailing prizes when I do prizes. So, yeah. So, if you're like, yeah, I don't want to support that, cool. Clicks TV, Dial H, all those cats, great guys. If you're like, meh, you know, I don't want to support the Quarry anymore, yeah, cool. I mean, stand up for your guns. I am the person that believes, you know, we have ideals, and ideals at some point in time should cost us something. If not, they are a mockery and just elements of convenience. If you're like, I don't care what you believe, just tell me that HEROCLIX stuff, cool. You know, yay, nay, indifferent, whatever. So like I said, that'll be in a different video. Don't have to watch it. So let's get into it, all right? Today's formula is complicated because I'm going to break down how I got to the formula, and I like to give a shout out to Caleb Woodward, because talking to him allowed me to sort of come to the understanding of this formula. So Caleb, you've had like 3 weeks to work with this, homie. So, you know, you had a head start. So don't be like, but the info, but you had a 3-week head start, and so have I, sort of. So, the formula overall is mainly for 300-point games, and there's a core formula, and then there are some secondary formulas, plural, to work off of. Okay, there's secondary formulas to work off of. Okay, the core formula is this. It is 300 points minus 25. 25 is for your resource. Now, I know most resources go beyond 25, but this is just like a general sort of catch-all average number. Okay, because you can spend less than 25 points on a battery. You can spend more than 25 points on a battery. And that's the main reason why I have it like that. Okay. So 300 minus 25 minus 50. Okay, minus 50. So you're going to have 50 is going to be somewhat, just bear with me, your two entities. Okay, now you can give or take two entities, but on average you're going to have to assume every team is going to have two entities. Okay, because most people aren't looking at team bases, because White Witch, because Agent 13, because Green Lantern Power Battery. Whoop-de-dee-ka-doo. All right, and whoever else is coming out in the future that does that. All right, stops multiple free actions. Heck, Tim Hunter and White Witch combo. Yay. Get jiggy with it. Okay, so you get that in there, and then you're gonna hate me when I'm saying this. Add minus 10 to 13. 10 to 13. Okay, so here we go. And you're going to be like, Dark Logos, this is like basic math. What are you seeing? Why are you putting all of this like this? Okay. Oh, take the deep breath, Edward. Take the deep breath. You can do this. You can do this. All right, so here's how it breaks down as I move my mic away from myself real quick, and I get the calculator out. The main problem, and I hope the volume didn't change too much. The main problem is this. Once I saw the previews for what the Avengers ID cards do, and that you can have the Avengers ID cards independent of independent of the thing. I was saying the thing. You can have it independent of the table. It created a whole list of conundrums for me, because that means like they're one-time uses to summon in a guy, but at the same time of them being one-time uses, they have permanent stat effects. So those stat effects become huge. If you're looking at it for how much you're paying for the cost. Okay, so you're paying 5 points for +2 range and the ability to summon in for a power action a guy at any point in time, anywhere. Anywhere on the map, just bloop. He's not in your starting area and he only lasts a turn. But that in and of itself is stupid strong. Okay. Now, note, we only know that the Avengers ID cards at this time can give stats. We do not know if they can give powers. If I wouldn't put it past WizKids, if there's like 60 freaking cards, if there wouldn't be some powers or some silly stupid stuff that would also come about, with the Avengers ID cards. Okay, so we're assuming that between the relics of the 7 Deadly Sins and the ID cards, because we're HEROCLIX players, we're going to stack that stuff. That functionally gives you, drum roll please, 212 points to work from. There's 212 points to work from. And that's what the average player is going to build around. Is that 212 points, give or take 5 to 10 points. Okay, now you would say, well, Dark Logos, why don't you just be honest with us and say that a third of your team is going to be add-ons? Well, that could be true, but also that could not be true. And here's why. And this is the second formula. The second formula is backward. It is completely backward because it's the tentpole formula and the team-based formula. Okay, so bear with me. I told you there are going to be formulas, but we're going to be looking at this core formula first. But I want you to be able to write down these formulas formulas in your HEROCLIX notebook so that you can understand why I'm doing what I'm doing and why I'm saying what I'm saying. It's simple math, but just bear with me. The second formula is 200 points plus 25. Okay? 200 points plus 25 plus 5. And then, and if you really want to put it, the 5 can be a variable 10. I really don't see that being a 13. Actually, no, I don't see that being a 13 in most cases. So 200 plus 25 plus 5. Okay. And then from there, you can determine how many points or, whatever else you want to spend. So you're like, well, hey, this is all basic math, Dark Logos. What's this? Okay, what we're allocating is you're going to spend 200 points on a tent pole. You're not really going to spend more than 200 points on a tent pole. If you do spend more than 200 points on a tent pole, it has to be really magical, and it has to beat the ability for a team base to pop off characters, the New Mutants team base to be able to pop off vet level characters, or what's the other team base that comes in at 200? Or any other team base that's able to pop off characters, just period. Plus a Green Lantern battery. And a support figure. Okay. The extra 25, of course, is for the resources, not for entity. It is not for entity. Because you're not going to have enough points to have a serious, supportish figure and an entity and a ID card, because that's the other 5. And again, the ID cards change the game, because it's like, I'm almost dead and really low, but I can't do serious damage to you, but I can summon in Scarlet Witch, who can come and shoot you and then potentially, incap you. Yep, now I'm alive to run away to win on points. Stuff like that. Stuff like that is it's dumb. So again, when we're coming back to it, we have this new way of looking at things, and for some people it's like the math makes it easier. Some people the math doesn't make it easier. But let's go back to the first formula, and we can see some cool things. All right. With the first formula, we're looking at around 200 points. And in the second formula, just real quick, tie something together, we're looking at around 200 points. What this lets us know is this. Whatever you play, if it's not a team base, it has to be able to compete with a team base, another character with an Avengers ID card, and against the Green Lantern power battery, or another resource that's not assigned to the whole force. I still think it's going to be the Green Lantern power battery. You get the most out of it overall. You force your opponents to play around it, and if you mirror match, and if you go against another team base, the other team base is hosed, you're at 200 points, you're not getting multiple actions anyway. You're only getting one action. It just stops you from really using using perplex and running shot. Woohoo! But you still pop off all your little spawns and stuff. So, sort of coming back, can you build something within that 200 points, 212 points, that's able to, take on a team base? So let's just do some simple math here. I'm gonna move my mic again. I apologize. I'm gonna try to project. But just so you know, like, hey, why is the sound going up and down? It's because I'm moving my mic. Okay, so I have 212. Let's say we're just between 3 figures on average cost. If I equally split the cost between 3 figures, going to put us at 70 points per figure. And then start looking at, what can I get for 70 points per figure? And yeah, you're going to have some problems, because they're not that deep. Okay, if all 3 of your figures are 70 points. Okay, so now let's say we only have 2 figures. If we only have 2 figures, that's 106. Okay, so we can sort of shift it and even say I have a 90 point, and then I have a 116 point character. Okay, or something, or something along those lines. Or 96 point character, have 116 point character. You can play with it slightly. Okay, but overall, it's limiting. Okay, so, but let's say, you might be saying, Edward, what about the golden ratio characters that are sitting in around 125 points? Well, 212 minus 125, you're left with 87 points to build with, and 87 points isn't bad, because again, most of the golden ratio characters come in at 125 to 135, so you're looking at 87 or 77 points. You don't have bad characters, but if your main hitter goes down, I'm not comfortable with, having a character like that carry. So, if we go back, we have 212 points. And then we put in a big tent Polish guy that is, let's just say, 160-ish. Or let's just go Silver Centurion. Silver Centurion is 161. Okay, that leaves us 51 points. And that's again, we're stacking either 2 ID cards, and we have some points to play with. 2 ID cards, a relatively decent use of our resource, and 2 entities. Okay, but coming in at 51 points, you're not going to get something really, really deep. You are really going to be dependent on that tentpole doing something major. So what I see is, when we're going into nationals and into origins, world championships, you're going to see most people abide by this formula here, the first formula that I've given you. Even though they won't admit it, that's the primary formula that they're going to be going off of, which is I have 212 points, I have 2 ID cards, because again, I think before Worlds, after Nationals, we should have these ID cards, or at least going into Nationals that people are going to be playing Sins. Plus 2 entities, because the meta right now is built around entities. And boom, that's it. That's your meta. Now, so again, going to that secondary bit of math, where we're looking at a flat sort of 200 points of building around with the team base or our tent pole or whatever. When we start looking at characters around that level, we start noticing some interesting trends. So come with me to HC Realms OG. Yeah, so come with me to HC Realms. And again, I apologize. I have to use the keyboard a lot more this show. I thought I could have like the mic real up close to me, but I couldn't. So what we're going to do is I want you to go and look at Modern Age. I want you to look at figures between 170 and 200 points, Modern Age, and then we're going to put another little thing on there. And we're going to say starting damaged value 4. Because if it's 3 or less, it doesn't matter if you have RCE or whatever else. That's just too low. It's just too low. All right, so we're going to see some characters, and it's not that encouraging once we start looking at this tentpole meta. Okay, so first off, we have Zombie Galactus coming in at 200 points, having 4 damage. That's pretty cool. You're going to have to play Book of the Skulls and Split Lip to get his attack value up to standard. I hate to say it like that. And him get some running shot. But, 200 points, you got him. You have Avengers Age of Ultron rookie Iron Man at 185 points. And you have rookie Hulk coming in at 200 points. Sphinx, Thanos. Let me just go to the ones that are of note. Super Skrull. Again, Super Skrull's probably dead, but he's probably dead. Let's see. Why do I have Deadpool and Bob? Oh, okay, never mind. Never mind. Uh, let's see. The Magneto from AVX, I wasn't a fan of him, but I don't see him coming back. But he's, yeah, I could see someone using him. Hyperion Prime. Oh gosh, at 200. When's the last time you heard about him? Gosh. Oh gosh, that would be stupid. Oh, really? Come to think, a Gladiator, number 74, Gladiator, 200 points. He's not bad. He's not a boss, but he's not bad. And I don't see anybody playing Odin. Odin would be nice, but I don't see anybody playing Odin, even though he could change some games. And that's it from Marvel. Oh, you had that Thor, that 200-point Thor from M10, but it's not going to carry. Even though it's 9 clicks deep. It's 9 clicks deep, but I don't think he's going to carry. I don't think he has that ability. Iron Man and War Machine could be fun. Iron Man and War Machine could be really fun at 200 points. And then Iron Man, Iron Patriot. That duo was boss. That duo was boss. All it needs is hammers. But I don't see that one lasting. It's too soft. Full On World's Finest. That one is something to actually consider because they're deep enough. They really are deep enough. And then with both TAs, it's stupid. It's stupid strong. The new Wonder Woman from the prize support, she's pretty deep. But dang it, now I have to think about that World's Finest because duo attack and just the ability to be stealth and ignore stealth. The new composite Superman, only reason I'm bringing this up is that, again, he starts off with that 4 damage, and at 200 points, he is 8 clicks deep. That's pretty respectable. That's real respectable. Being 8 clicks deep at 200 points, and then you being able to bounce back between characters and just be like, well, invincibility, and I have regen, and oh, I phase through you and shut off your access to your resource, homie. Thank you very much. So that is definitely something to consider. The Lex Luthor from Trinity War, because everybody likes that subterfuge token stupid BS. But and then the 200-point Sinestro, that one is viable. That one is straight viable. I don't think it can take on a team base by itself if you had to face it, but it can take on a whole lot of other things. Let's see. Gosh, I sort of want Apollo to be awesome just because I did read enough Authority. I never agreed with the politics of Authority. It's just, it's one of those things where I'm like, okay, let me be open-minded to the point where I was able to listen to the other side, and the world that they depicted I did not like. It was supposed to be all-inclusive, but it really didn't have a place for people like me, but that's a whole different story. So, yeah, I'm really not seeing anything else. I don't see anyone playing Ganthet or Superboy Prime. The Prime Mon-El, that's a possibility. That could come out. We saw that at a Rock, but there was no tactics. And yeah, Emerald Empress was good for a period of time. Let me look at Wildfire real quick. Wildfire is 8 clicks deep, and he does have a stop click, and that's not bad. It's not bad. So Superboy Prime from Teen Titans, yeah, no one's playing that. And Streets of Gotham, Superman, no one's definitely playing that, and no one's playing Man of Steel, Supermans. Okay, so you can start to see we are really limited, really, really limited when we start looking at 200-point tent Polish figures. I think 170 to 200 points with at least 4 damage starting off, and I think I may have glitched that just slightly. So give me a moment. I'm gonna do one more search. We're gonna look back through in the range of 170 to 200, and then I think I had damage is equal to 4, and I need to do greater than or equal to 4, because if they had a on first click, you gotta watch that, and trust me, like, I've been playing with this thing for years, and I still make a mistake with using it. So, okay, and of course I have Golden Age, so that just makes everything slower. Okay, so here we go. All right, let's go back through here. All right, so who I missed Shuma Gorath, Captain America Sentinel. Oh yeah, Captain America Sentinel. That guy is awesome. Thor from Age of Ultron at 200 points. Yeah, so I knew I was missing some people. The Zombies team base also potentially could be really strong. Potentially. I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying potentially it could jack you up. Thor came back in from AVX. The Thor from AVX is a mixed bag for me, because part of me just sees like the murder. The other part of me is like the lower point version is better. But just how it goes. X-Men, Gladiator, yeah. There's not much difference. Let me look at the DC end and see if some new things come up. Not really. Yep, not really. So, okay, so nothing really changes. Yeah, nothing really changes. All right, so what does that put us at? We see, if we actually look at the list, we see a few team bases that are worth considering. Like your Teen Titans Villains for Hire. Who else comes up here? World's Finest. I'm sorry, but they're not team base. Hellfire Club. X-Men Gold Strike Force, that actually surprises me. But yeah. So you have some options. But no, X-Men Gold Strike Force maybe not it, because they really don't have the mobility that they need. You got a 10 attack and 5 damage. While admirable, that doesn't help you none. That does not help you none. So yeah. So what does this mean? Well, first, you could pick a tent pole that has less than 4 damage. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could, and you could open, your options up a bit. The concern that I have is that if you do that, you won't be able to carry. You won't be able to land a hard enough hit to take out most of the teams that you're going to be dealing with. Also, if we're looking at our options overall, our average click of life is fluctuating, because we see some stuff that's like real awesome, like real deep dials, and then we see some very like scarce dials. Okay, so let's take Thanos coming in at 200 points. On his 200 point version, he can't be assigned resources, so he's already at a disadvantage, even with his gauntlet or tribute thing. But he has outwit. He has the Black Order obeys. Thanos can use leadership. When he does and succeeds, he may remove the action token from any character with a Black Order keyword anywhere on the map, which really isn't going to do you much good in a 300 point game. But all right, so let's just keep going. Sphinx, you could probably plan around with like a mystical team, but he needs hammers, and or at least some way to consistently like regen him back up, like all dial. But we're looking at Sphinx with like 8 clicks, Iron Man, 7 clicks, Groot, which I don't see people building around Groot, 9 clicks. So we're really seeing it float between 7 and 9 clicks. Just pure and simple. Now, this again is from the tentpole standpoint. If we look from the non-tentpole standpoint, and we're fielding like two or three figures, and we have running shot pulse wave, just saying, on any of these guys, or just some form of penetrating damage or or outwit, the average damage that these characters are going to be dealing out is going to be 4 to 6. 4 to 6. After all the stat mods and whatever else. So we can see that your big, huge tent poles, how deep they are and how much you're paying for them, you're only getting like 9 clicks of health on average. Even if you're a team base, you're not that deep. You really aren't. That, to an extent, makes Cap Sentinel a lot more stronger than some people might recognize. The main reason that is that, okay, Cap Sentinel is 9 clicks deep, which he's a little bit above the curve, okay, on the other side of the bell curve, slightly. But if your opponent does breeze through all of his shenanigans, you have to deal with 4 additional constructs that pop down afterward, and the murder that they can cause by themselves. So, yes, your opponent can get an additional, I think it's like 100 points off of Cap Sentinel, but you should be able to rally with the stupid stats those pogs have. Like, you should be able to rally. Okay, so those are some things to think about. All right. Also, like, just going back down to World's Finest. World's Finest, with its range, having a 4 damage value up front, being able to be stealth, being able to have access to energy explosion, having sort of multiple ways of dealing with things, is a really good figure. A really, really good figure to look at. Impervious into Invincible, 4 clicks of Invincible. That's nice. The CCE, not so much a fan of, but I understand. Once you start going into Huntress, things get really, really, really cool. So I like it. I really, really like it. I think that it has a lot of potential. I just think that most people are going to overlook it. Because she's 11 clicks deep, and I don't think you can put an entity on her. Because she doesn't have, like, the standard fist symbol. And so she's going to be overlooked. So, again, where's our formula sort of coming back to? Like, oh, okay, if we have a tent pole, or we have somebody monstrously, deep, like we do. Like, I think if you're going to try to fight a battle of attrition, then yeah, it's going to be hard for your opponent to two-shot World's Finest. Like, that one I would rank up there as like one of the hardest figures to fight in the game. If you're looking at the meta right now. Okay, just for the amount of damage output that one has to do. Now, the problem with World's Finest is eventually they just hit this point where they're just taking hits, and if you're rolling regen, you become sort of stuck because they're hitting you for 6 or 7 a turn, and at best you're healing 4. So eventually you're going to go down if you're just playing it like that. Okay, so you're really you have to be super careful with playing world's finest. Just super careful the entire time. But sort of let's go back, and I'm gonna move my mic. So we go back, and then we see like some really cool characters. If we go back to our original formula, and we see something interesting. So we have 212 points to work with. We're going to look for our characters in the range of 85 points to, we're just going to say 125. We're going to make that our high end. We're going to put a base damage value is greater than or equal to 4 for right now. And I'm going to look at 3 later. And then greater than or equal to 11 on first click only. And then we're going to search. Okay. So, wow. Here's some interesting stuff. So we have Ultron Prime from Age of Ultron coming off, giving us Transporter, 11 attack, charge, and 4 damage off the top. So in 8 range, 3 targets with energy explosion. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. We also have 100-point Avengers Initiative Thor 103E, who's able to full move charge and then quake. And yeah, so, you know, you just like, oh, I drop a hammer on thee. Full move charge. Quake. Now drop a hammer on thee. From the Book of the Skull thee. Okay, Major Victory is also another character that a lot of people overlook. Just drop a sniper rifle on that dude and you have a 125 point attacker, and just overall value once you just drop a sniper rifle on him. The ever so popular Thane comes up, running shot, you know, again, sniper rifle, 11 attack, 4 damage. That's really all he needs. Ronan the Accuser, 12 attack, 4 damage, 7 range. Not that deep, but again, at 120, these are, we're playing for a Alpha Strike meta, okay? So Ronan Accuser, 208, 120 points. So it's, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy. Okay, then what else? I don't like Colossus. War Machine from the Invincible Iron Man set, 8 clicks deep. He's deep. He's probably so far one of the deeper characters that we've looked at. Avengers and Shield TA. So automatically, like, just something of value. He needs willpower. So, you know, getting him that Green Lantern sniper rifle is important. Let's see. Havoc from Wolverine and X-Men, but I probably think he's going to get retired. What else? Okay, sorry. Coriander. Now, Coriander, I've played with her. I've played with Coriander, and I think Coriander is probably going to be one of the new, like, go-to figures. You're going to see a lot of her at Nationals, and you're going to see a lot of her at Worlds. And here's why. She works well, considering that you're not thinking about Theme Team. She has access to Outsiders, which just says, screw you and all of your entity bonus crap. And your resource bonus crap. And your Avengers ID card bonus crap that you're going to have. Just screw you, buddy, because you suck and I rock. Also, she's able to Outsiders herself so that she's able to attack people with Sinestro Corps Lantern. Also able to not deal with the negative values that come from using Transporter. She technically has full dial, move, and attack. And she's 8 clicks deep, and she just needs a damage reduction. That's it. And she has peppered willpower. That's it. I mean, like, you really can't complain. Over half the dial is penetrating damage of some sort. You really can't complain about this figure. High movement, so strong. I can almost be tempted to say to see doubles of her, but that's only if there's something awesome in Warriors that comes up. Excuse me. Ultraman, not so much. Freddie Freeman, yep, this guy's a boss. So what? He's 6 clicks deep at 112 points, hypersonic speed, 11 attack, 4 damage, super strength. Can pick up ultra heavy against the wrong with a Banshee, in the aura. Oh, you have toughness, take 6. You don't have super senses. You're not avoiding this. Just take 6. I know you're going to cry. I'm sorry. Just take it. Wrath, questionable, but maybe. Girder, I don't think so. Jenny Sparks. Again, 8 clicks deep. The super senses up front is a little bit disheartening. Just the way the meta's going now, because Banshee is freaking boss. But overall, if you don't know how good Jenny Sparks is, you haven't been listening to this podcast too long. Then there is Catman Tui. She's one of those that I feel like she needs dedicated. She needs some damage reduction. That's significant up front, because once she takes a hit, she takes a hit. But she's cheap enough for you to put on an entity or whatever else to get some damage reduction. I think she's probably going to be one of those few characters that start off that once you start playing around with her and the Avengers ID card, she's going to get real strong. Then there is Hal Jordan and Sinestro. Their values at 100. 10 range, 11 attack, 4 damage, running shot, 2 targets, energy explosion. That's pretty good. Indigo Tribe Sinestro. I played Tim Bold last year with this Sinestro, and he is remarkably hard to kill once you add some entities on him. He has a lot going for him. A 19 to 20 D at range. He has a very good attack value. I think Tim played him with hammer, so he was able to get damage reduction from the charge or running shot. I forgot what it was. But overall, he at 115 points, he's really going to be one of those dark horse characters that people don't see. And when he comes in there, he actually lands the major hit. Then boom, it's on. Another honorable mention, Guy Gardner. Because he's not going to show up on this format, but you're able to use close combat expert with his full movement thing. So he's able to get his stats up to that 11-4 sort of dynamic. Next up is Black Manta, because I love Black Manta and I'm severely biased. That's why. Just being honest, severely biased. Now, you can start to see, this is where this becomes a really big deal. When you compare Coriander to Teen Titans Starfire, when you compare those two, you start to see, I'd rather have Coriander than Starfire. Even with Sharpshooter, I'd rather have Coriander than Starfire. And that's it. That's really all we can look at. So, what are we noticing here? First off, there aren't as many stupid, crazy options as we might have initially thought there was for high attack, high damage values. Okay, on the cheap. Okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is, there really, I think out of all of this, there's only one technical 12 attack, and that's Ronin. And I didn't even think about Ronin as being viable at all. I mean, like, really ask yourself, when the last time you're like, yep, I need to play Ronan the Accuser. Now, I know there's probably some theme guy out there who's like, I play him all the time. I have fun. And more power to you, buddy. More power to you. Oh, I forgot about Dark Flash. Now, I am not so gung-ho about Dark Flash as I was previously. It's the fact that you gotta understand that Orange Lantern Power Battery is going to be out the wazoo. So if you're going to be playing any speedster, you better be playing a speedster with a Book of the Skulls. I'm just being honest with you, because they're going to need charge as a backup. Because if their hypersonic speed is taken away, you need a means of guaranteeing that you can still move. And a lot of people don't like me saying that, because it implies that the meta is way more limited than it is. And then it's just like with my interview on the Corey this week or last week or whenever you look at it, the latest episode of the Corey where I talk, sorry, I had a brain fart. When I talk with Cram Company, Scott Crampton, and I pretty much said, I pretty much said that the top resources right now are the Book of the Skull and the power plant. Is Power Plant and Orange Lantern Battery. And the Book of the Skull is a close number 3. So, the Book of the Skull is a close number 3. The main reason that, you have to have those as backups, again, for your hypersonic speeders, for your meleeers, just to make sure, like, oh, hey, I can do something and I'm not completely screwed out by this, Orange Lantern Power Battery or whatever else is going on in your meta situation. So it's something to just sort of keep your mind on, just overall. So let's sort of go back to the last formula. I'm going to present like the third formula, and this is going to be the final formula, and I'm going to unpack it slightly. It's not going to be as hyper detailed as the others, and for the main reason is that, in all honesty, the other ones are a little bit more straightforward. This one is a lot more in flux than the others. So sort of just take it as you see it. The swarm mechanics that we have now, that tactics are back, are strong, but there are a lot of liabilities. The liability is your figures are going to get one-shotted now, or your pogs or whatever else. They're all going to get one-shotted. If you can't handle that reality, then this is not the style of play that you want to shift to. But that's what we're dealing with. You're going to be dealing with a lot of, together we form Voltron. Okay, so when you see that, it's like, okay, this makes sense now. And the math equation for the swarm team, and this is just what I've sort of gone off in my head, so bear with me, okay? You are looking at, as of right now, and as I move my mic closer, as of right now, you are looking at one specific character to be the core of your entire team, and that is Weasel. Not going to front, not going to lie to you. Doesn't matter what version or how many guys you put on there, Weasel is on your team. Guaranteed. Guaranteed Weasel is on your team. Now you might say, hey, but Dark Logos, I want to do a melee swarm. Good luck to you, buddy. Come and email me that math and how you break that down. Please, I really want to add it to the formula collection. And I'm not saying this sarcastically. I really want to know how you're going to pull off a melee-ish team. Is it Hand? Is it Hydra? Is it League of Assassins? Like, how are you pulling that off? Lots of Indigo battery creative uses. I don't know. Let me know. Email me, starringoverpodcast@gmail.com. Okay. So let's go back to it. You are looking at Weasel times 2 plus 30. Okay. Weasel times 2 plus 30 plus 25. And the plus 25 is for you to put in if you have a character that's not a Pog. That's not super deep, but okay deep. Now, the Pogs are really useful. They're really consistent. Book of the Skulls makes them awesome and all the other good stuff. But really, the main element is you're either looking at Book of the Skull or Power Plant. Preferably Power Plant, because it just offers you way more options. And you could add in, for the rest of your points, you could put in Bill, Agent of AIM for, he could be sort of okay. So let's bring the magic calculator up. Okay, so we have 27 times 2, because basic math is hard sometimes, plus 30, plus, because 27 times 2, because my calculator doesn't want to act right, plus 30 plus 25. And the 25 is for the entity. That's 109. That's 109. So right there, what does that tell us? We're hitting around that same foundational, precepts that we had before, which is we have about 200-ish points to play with. And you can still put Avengers ID cards on your little swarmy guys. That's not a problem. Just imagine Scotty's Warbot with Justice and just laugh. Just Justice ID card. And it's like, oh, wow, that's sort of dumb. And it is. It is sort of dumb. Now, again, all this is based on the premise that we're going to have ID cards before Origin. Just before Origin, not before Nationals, but before Origin. Okay. Because I don't think they're going to be coming out this week. And if they did, they probably wouldn't be legal for Nationals. So anyway, all that said and done, when we finally just look at the breakdown, we can put a whole host of little swarmy bot guys or War of Light guys on there to however we see fit. And we're able to significantly boost them and then power them up some more at range using the two, the two weasels. Now, you can go up to 3 weasels. I wouldn't recommend it. And I would also recommend having like another sort of just standard-ish figure to put on the team to utilize that the entity for whatever purposes. But at the same time, I can understand why you would not. Okay. So with all this being said, stack in, all the other tech analysis that I've broken down to you in the last month and a half. We're looking at a very, very complicated meta. More complicated than it's ever been before. Because take this math stuff, then add in the Mother May I tech, and then add in your resource understanding, add in additional relic use, either be the ID cards or the 7 deadly sins, and that's a 300-point team. Now, some people might say, well, Dark Logos, wouldn't it be best if I'm, tight on points to opt out of this or opt out of that? And I would say that is up to your discretion. But one thing that will have to be discussed for other minds in various areas is this. If we have a team that is cram-packed with all of these elements, at what point in time is this inefficient? And what sort of constructs, and I don't mean the Green Lantern or the battery constructs, what sort of constructs in our theory crafting do we have to hold up this superstructure with all these add-ons? Or is there a point where things are mutually exclusive? Such as, if I am going to play ID cards and stack ID cards, it would be a bad idea for me to consider entities. If I'm looking at entities, it's probably a bad idea for me to stack ID cards. The one constant I'm sort of going to be looking at is the resource. Resources are always going to be a constant. The question comes in is to what degree? That's it. So overall, I hope this has been educational, in the sense of helping you break down your teams and think of teams. Also, just saying, like, with modern age coming to the rock, we're going to see a lot of crazy stuff. A lot of crazy stuff here in the next few weeks. And it's just more of a question of, is this good enough? Is this bad? Is this viable? What characters do people gravitate to? I still think, Coriander probably is going to be one of the most seen figures this year. Just pure on all the elements that you need for shenanigans, all the elements you need for aggro, all the elements that you need for just making sure that your damage sticks, having both Precision Strike and Magical Pulse Wave. That's a lot of goodness. It's a lot of goodness. You really can't disagree with it. So yeah, tell me what you think of the math formulas. Is it me overthinking it? Is this, useful? Or is this just something to consider, or to help break down teams? So, all right. So, that's it. You can hit me up on Twitter, at StartOverPod. It came from outer space and told me, man, next week's going to be real interesting. Then you can email me at startingoverpodcast@gmail.com, startingoverpodcast@gmail.com. If you wish to opine, keep it piffy, keep it interesting, keep it awesome, baby. Tell me what you think of, the formula and stuff. Last but not least, if you want to hire me for my services, you can email me, and then you can donate to me or / pay me on the blog, startingoverpodcast.blogspot.com. All right, that's it for today's show. If you want to hear my opinion on all the Indiana stuff and just my thoughts in general, feel free to check out the other video. Yeah. Also, if you want to go listen to the April Fool's joke episode, go ahead as well. Man, so much work, so little time. All right, that's it, y'all. Check you later.